Wait, is the intro over? Okay, good. Welcome everyone. As you may know, the Warframe Partner program is no more. Now, you may be aware of what that is, you may completely be unaware of what a Warframe Partner program is, but if you know what it is, you might be happy to see it go, you might be sad to see it go, but regardless, I think this was something that influenced a lot of people's lives. People's videos, streams, and healthy debates. Anyway, I've been with this program for 4 of its 6 years lifespan, and aside from being a creator on YouTube and Twitch with it, I've also created the rather infamous partner Discord and done a couple of independent Warframe events on Twitch. So suffice to say, the ending of this program kind of means something to me. So that's why I wanted to sit down and have a little fireside chat with you. Even though the fire may not be heating me, the memories and your presence definitely heats me inside. But before I begin, let me preface this by saying that this program was by no means perfect. It had its good, and it definitely also had its bad, which was more often than not a point of contention, may it be private or very, very, very public. However, since it's no longer among us, I think that it's a great time to sit down and reminisce by the fireside. Talk about some of the good points, talk about some of the bad points, talk about the beautiful, the ugly, and share some of my precious memories that I've made with this program, and also provide you with some perspective from my end on this thing and maybe some misconceptions around it. So please, feel free to join me, grab yourself a drink. I mean, I probably don't have to do this anymore because, yeah, no longer a Warframe partner, but hey, let's do it for one final video. So the Warframe Partner Program. What is, or was, the Warframe Partner Program? Well, initially it was founded in 2014 as the Warframe Fan Channel Program. And the idea was that it would just be a simple program that would give YouTube or Twitch creators things in-game for this little game called Warframe, by which they could promote the game, or actually review the items in-game and support the content that they created. I joined it in 2016 after creating my channel in 2015 because I was kind of looking to mingle and meet some of my peers within this Warframe creative space, since I've been doing this for a year by myself. And when I joined, pretty much the state of it was an email chain. That's all it was. It was just an email whenever an update came out saying, here's your update and here are some day one access, which was pretty much just some items in-game that just released so you could cover them in a video or do a stream about them and then, tell people about them. And very occasionally, they would do a platinum giveaway, a premium currency giveaway for your viewers, but that didn't really happen that regularly. So basically, there was no social platform, there was no group behind it, or even any collaborative movement originating from this fan channel program. Now, after I joined, I was quite surprised to see that there wasn't really much behind it. So I reached out to a couple of creators, and together we kind of agreed that it would be probably great if there would be some sort of social cohesion or a shared platform behind this program. Seeing as most of our communities, which all had the same passion for Warframe, always seem to somewhat overlap with each other, it would be very weird if we would not be in some form of communication with each other, At the same time, it would be kind of a great place to learn from each other, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. And if things arose within the Warframe space, we could talk about it and we could discuss it and have a more informed opinion about it. And finally, it would also be able to support bigger collaborations, which could lead to projects which would be bigger than each one of us individually. And of course, it would be a great place to make friends. So I brought this idea to Digital Extremes, and they said that the concept sounded very promising, and the idea was great. And then they said that I should go ahead and do it myself, which was quite challenging, seeing as I only had 30 subscribers and hardly knew anyone. However, after many months of reaching out to people and a lot of help from people like Xenogalion, Hydroxide, and Darkfreak, we managed to speak to every single one of the creators within the program. All 60 of them by the time. And we asked them the same question, what they thought of the program in the current state and how they thought it could be improved. Now, after analyzing all the responses and taking a couple of solutions out of it, of which one was a creator Discord, we put together this entire document, report. And yeah, we showed it to DE. So I showed it to DE, and they said that the report was very promising, and the idea of a partner Discord was really, really great. And then they said that I should go ahead and do it myself, which was still rather challenging, because my subscriber count hadn't really grown, and I hadn't really gotten to know that many more people. However, we did it. We created the official Warframe fan channels Discord, and it was a great little place. Of course, it wasn't really all that big. People were kind of like trickling in, but not by many. However, it was a really great place to like meet new people, hang out, talk about things relating to Warframe and content creation. And I think that was also the time when I started to do my very first podcast series, where I would like sit down and talk with people that I would meet within that Discord. Now, I think that Discord launched around mid to late 2016 or so, but as it grew, I was starting to wonder, like, what can we do with this new group of people that is slowly growing? And what can we do that could maybe even be bigger than ourselves? I was kind of inspired by W Greats, Daniel the Demon, Animated Break, and Shaw doing a world record attempt live on Twitch for, like, the longest Warframe defense mission or something. That event was very significant to me, because Warframe Twitch was a very small thing. The live streaming Warframe content wasn't really a big thing at all. And this place just felt like everyone was there. Everyone was watching these four guys, like trying to get as far as possible. And it just felt amazing having everyone there. So I wanted to replicate that. I wanted to see if we could do that again, but even better this time. So I came up with an idea of doing like this live stream event on like one single channel, where like every 2 hours we would switch per creator, so that you would have like a whole bunch of people in there. You get people from all around the world, every corner of the community, into this one single place, and it would like allow you to meet new people, see new streamers, people that you weren't aware of, and see what they did. And at the same time, with everyone there, we might as well, try and do something for a good cause or something. I didn't know. So I took this idea and just started asking around, messaging people with this Discord thing, like, hey, would you be interested? And slowly but surely, people started saying yes, which was honestly like some of the most exciting times in my life. I remember very clearly the time when initially the idea would be to just do it for like 2 days. So we didn't even know if we could fit in like 2 days of people, because that would just mean like 24 people to stream on this thing. But then W Greats and Daniel the Demon came around like one day when I wasn't done with work. They were like, hey, remember that record attempt? We want to do that twice for this thing. And it was so fucking cool. Like, that was a great time. Or like when D would come in and say like, hey, we're gonna host you right after Death stream. We're gonna have devs that can like join in with your streamers, and we're gonna have fun with it. I was like, yes! It was like one of the most exciting things. So like that turned out to be the 72-hour extra live stream event that we did on Warframe fan channels. Like seriously, it was so much fucking fun. And like the thing that I remember so well was that everyone was just having a blast, both like on screen as well off screen. Like we had this Discord behind here where just like people would join in and be like, oh my god, dude, oh my god, I'm watching all your videos. It was so much fun. It was so much fun just to see people discover each other and just have, the time of their lives. And also do something great for charity, I guess. So after that, Digital Extremes came around and they said that they wanted to make this Warframe fan channel Discord an official thing. And I was really happy with that, because it was honestly a really, really great place to be. I remember like every time you'd have like 1 or 2 new partners or fan channels join in, and like, I would reach out to them, like check out what kind of content they did and have a little chat, and it was like so cool meeting these people. It was so awesome. Like even TennoCons or Tenno VIPs that came out of it, where we could like coordinate like who's coming, where you're coming, how late you're coming in, do you want to go to movies and stuff like that, was by far some of the most beautiful times I've ever had. And to me, that was the core of the Warframe Partner program. You could get there and get your developer support for, in-game items or giveaways, or you could go out and like connect with the community, the creative community behind it, and hang out, get to know them better, share information that you had, share like builds, tactics, ideas for videos, collaborate, like that. That is what the Warframe Partner program stood for me in its prime. However, this peak was also the moment for which I started to distance myself more and more from this Discord and the program itself. The main reason for that was that the communication between me and DE kind of ceased to be after this thing was made official, so I didn't know where to move forward with or where improvements were going to be made. At the same time, the events on Warframe fan channels got sidetracked and ultimately completely stopped to be a thing. And finally, I felt the communication between developers and creators, and very much also creators amongst themselves, declined very rapidly. Much of that was caused and/or enhanced by some private and public drama. Now, in order to understand that fully, I want to go into a couple of misconceptions that people might have around the partner program. I want to give my take on what it was like from the inside so that you might have a clear idea of what this thing was and what it wasn't, and give you some idea from my perspective. So point 1, how did partners communicate with the developers and what was the goal of the program, in my opinion? I think one of the main misconceptions about the Warframe Partner Program was that partners had a direct line to DE and could immediately influence any big decisions within the game. Like, we could just pick up the telephone and be like, we want this thing changed, and they would do that. That was completely false. I think that partners had very little influence on the game itself. If there was anything that was remotely visible, it was more than coincidental, that DE was just happening to change something while a partner was talking about it, but very rarely did anyone ever influence a decision. Like, we did have our own feedback place where we could submit our feedback, but it was more similar to the forums, where you could submit things to the forums and sometimes they read it, sometimes they didn't. Now, I don't think that's a problem, because honestly, we're creators. We're making videos, we're making streams. I don't think that if you can create a video or create a stream in any decent way, that gives you any more insight into creating a game any more than you watching this, or for God's sake, a developer of a game. So this entire idea that content creators ideas and proposals are worth more than your ideas or proposals on the forums, that just doesn't make any sense to me. So I do think that that wasn't really as much a big of a thing that people thought it was, both inside and outside. Another thing which is important to realize was that being a partner did not give you close connections with devs or other creators. I mean, it was purely a business relation. They give you something and you give them something, and that is what the partner program is. I don't think that any business-related program enforces someone to be your friend or relate to each other on a personal level. If you wanted to do that, you could go ahead and just hang out with these people, but that was all up to you. And I think that also relates to point 2, information. The idea that partners were very aware of everything that was being planned and were aware of it very ahead of time, that idea was one giant misconception. Yes, we were aware of some things. We had an NDA, which I won't go into details about, but generally we did not know much more than you did if you just followed the Warframe Twitter account. That's honestly more true than you might think. If you watched the Warframe Twitter account, you knew pretty much the same as us. So yeah, I don't think the partners' advantage that people thought there would be, the advantage that partners have over other creators, that's not that big. Yes, there was a little bit, I knew ahead of time that this partner program was going to close, so I could have made a video a little bit earlier and launched it at the same time, but that wasn't by a year or something. We barely knew. We barely knew. We'd never even get specifics in order to get a video out because, everything is so vague. Everything can change at a moment's notice. So, I mean, even the communication within or about the program wasn't that clear. We didn't really know what the goal of this thing was. Was this program meant to be a dispensary of glyph codes and plat codes to give away and some items to review? Or was this meant to be some sort of social relation between you and Warframe, where both you, Warframe, and the other partners were trying to lift up the Warframe community and work together in some sort of collaborative effort? It wasn't really clear what this was meant to be. And as I mentioned before, I kind of distanced myself from the Warframe Partner Discord since 2018. So why did I do that? Well, the main reason was this kind of lack of direction, because things were so vague, which isn't necessarily bad, but it led to a lot of drama. If you put a bunch of people into a room and give them a clear objective that's going to help everyone, it gets them motivated. But if you put them in a room and you give them nothing to do, they're going to get bored, and they're going to start fighting in amongst themselves. And that's pretty much what happened with the Warframe Partners, or the Warframe creators. It did not become a nice place to be in, because people started fighting amongst each other, and complaining about people fighting amongst each other, and complaining about all different sorts of things, where in the end, people that just wanted to hang out and have a cool time pretty much left, including me. Now, to be fair, there were multiple attempts at creating another common goal. However, these goals were never really fully supported or seen through entirely until the end. So this continued the drama to basically exist and ultimately also leak outside of the private confounds of the partner Discord. And without affirmative action about that, it kind of became a shadow of what it used to be. Now, misconception number 2, or 3. Fuck it, I'm not keeping count. Misconception something. Were there tiers within the Warframe Partner program? Yes and no. Officially, there were no tiers. It was just you were a Warframe partner, that's it. However, in order to treat everyone in a fair manner, you gotta make some differences between the way that you approach different individuals. If there's one streamer that pulls in 10 average viewers, then giving him 175 plat code would be somewhat equal to giving someone that has 100 viewers 10 75 plat codes. Like, you can't expect EA to fly in 200 plus people to TennoCon for like an average price of $2,000 or something. Like, that would be insane. However, this was something which was very unclear, both inside the program and outside the program. And that caused, in my opinion, a lot of confusion with people, which even leaked a lot to the public, especially when it came to like TennoCon and TennoCon infights. People were often speculating as to like why certain people were invited and some people weren't. No one knew about it, or even like different partners, like partners with like SkillUp or Professor Broman, like the big partners or the big streamers, big creators that would make like occasional videos or occasional streams about Warframe and then move away, which seemed to be like in a stark contrast to the Warframe partners that streamed every single day or made a video every single week about Warframe. So I think personally that this announcement of closing the Warframe Partner program and moving forward with a new program, which is called the Creator Program, is actually really good. First of all, I think that this will allow the Creator Program to have a lower level of entry, where it's like this one tier with a standard reward thing, with like day one access and some plat giveaways and maybe some opportunities as far as I've read it. But it allows more people to be taken up within this program, but at the same time make a clear distinction between like someone that is a really big creator with a really big platform that comes in only once or twice to like do something about Warframe, and someone that like is part of the Warframe community and has grown within it. I think that's a very important distinction to make, and I personally think that it's a really, really good thing, because, you know, clarity is really, really important. This also ties into the point of favoritism. Did Warframe have anyone that they favoritized over other people, if that's a word, where they treated them differently? And as much as people from the outside in may have formed like very strong opinions about this, I can honestly say that after 4 years within this, I don't think so. At least not to the extreme that people may make it out to be. I'd like to believe that as long as you were doing a great job creating content and, you know, not stirring up any unnecessary drama, like, you'd be fine. Then again, I'm saying I don't think so. I can't factually say whether yes or no it was or wasn't the case, because there have been some rather unclear cases. However, those were also kind of shrouded by like the fakeness with communication around them, and also like the meaning of what it meant to be a Warframe partner. I think that one of the biggest misconceptions around the Warframe Partner program was, are Warframe partners representatives of DE? Like, do they work for DE? And to be honest, like, no, that was literally not the case. A Warframe partnership, like any partnership, is just an individual relation between two entities. Warframe in this case, and the creator. In this case, Warframe provides stuff to the creator to make content about, and the creator makes content about it. Like, that's as simple as it is. It's just a relation between two entities, which is clearly no one else's business but these two entities. And it's honestly like rather trivial. Like, it's not that important. Like, let's take for example like big tech channels that review tech within like the YouTube space. Like, they're partnered with like AMD, Nvidia, Intel, whatever, all these brands that will send them review samples to make reviews about once their new product launches. And that's what they do. They don't like shout themselves out to be like, oh, I am an AMD partner, because it's not important. It's just, hey, we make reviews, you give us things, that's the way it works. And I think that this was one big misconception when it came to the Warframe partnership, especially within its community, where this thing was held to such a high standard where it actually wasn't all that important. I think this was most supported by the misconception that Warframe partners should only play Warframe, which was rather a stupid thing. This was, of course, supported by these unenforced requirement of having to upload a Warframe piece of content every week, which they have since dropped. And of course, creators that would only cater to the Warframe community, Superheart would always be very vocal about Warframe partners having to only create Warframe content. I think that it's not an ideal situation for Warframe or the creators to have this idea that this is the only thing that they're about. I think that it's very clear to see that Warframe and their creators are separate beings and they stand alone from each other. And for both of them, like, it's best if they are strong, independent, standing entities. Honestly, I'm just really glad to see that that has changed with like the new creator program, where this requirement is no longer anywhere present, because it also like shies away big creators with large platforms to tune into Warframe, because it would not make sense for a PewDiePie to only start doing Warframe, because that'd be stupid for him and would never touch that. So I think that overall the main takeaway from most of these misconceptions is that like most things that people thought was the case was mostly not as extreme or even as important as you may think it was. The Warframe Partner Program really wasn't that big of a thing, and it really wasn't that important, especially in the grand scheme of things. I don't even think that there were any like serious bad actors. I don't think anyone really wakes up in the day and like things like, hey, I'm gonna make life shit for everyone. It was mostly just down to like problems caused by confusion, like miscommunication or a lack of direction. So shutting this program down, and changing it to like a new identified program is something which I think is a good thing. This leads me to one final point which I want to address. As I mentioned before, I was very heavily involved with this partner program, and especially around the years of 2016, 2017, 2018, I was super proud to be a Warframe partner, to be involved with this. However, that's changed over the last few years, quite a bit. As you may have seen with my videos and my involvement within Warframe, it has drastically decreased. Now, this has got to do with a story which I've never really told anyone publicly, because I really dislike drama. However, now that this thing is in the past, and like the program has been closed, I want to tell it to you, to give you a bit of advice, whether you're a creator or not, and I kind of want to leave you with a wish that I have for whatever Warframe decides to do in the future. As I mentioned before, one of the things that I did was organize independent Warframe events on the Warframe fan channel's Twitch. Now, these events took a lot of time for me. Most of the time, I would spend at least 3 months with planning, managing people, inviting people. There was a lot of work that came into this, most often to the detriment of my own channels. However, I was very happy to do it, because like it always resulted in like a really great experience and a lot of fun time for many, many people involved. And I felt that this thing was better, as it often benefited more people than just myself. However, mid-2018, I had to refocus my efforts on myself and my own channel because I wasn't earning any income at all, which was kind of bad. That was also the time when Warframe came around and reached out to me for my assistance on hosting a charity event within 3 weeks' time. As I mentioned before, these things would normally take at least 3 months to prepare, so this was an incredibly short amount of time. However, knowing this, I accepted, because that is what I would do for any friend in need. As well as we agreed that this would be a collaborative effort, where we would organize this event and Warframe would come in with much promotion, with much giveaways, and of course devs to join in with the streamers that would be called on a very short notice to help and enhance this charity event. It would be something done together. As fortune would have it though, this event would come up to line perfectly with the launch of Fortuna, with as a result that moments before the event went live, we would come to learn that most of the perma support would not be provided, as they were too busy with their own update launch. Now, I can understand that as a developer, a launch of Fortuna is one of the most important times for you of the year and requires all of your time and attention. However, it is also one of the most important times for a Warframe creator. As someone who had no income and a very small channel, this would have been a very important moment for me to grow. Were it not for the fact that I was hosting your event for free consecutive days. And afterwards, I heard nothing about this ever again. Now this seriously broke my trust in Warframe. And I've seen it happen more than once, where individuals weren't given the appropriate time and attention in difficult times. Now, I don't believe people are really to blame. I believe the blame lies on the company structure, which, let's face it, isn't designed to care about anything else than what profits it the most. And in my case, coming true on premises was far less profitable than launching an update. And that's where my advice comes in, to anyone that considers themselves to have some relationship with a company, whether that may be for a partnership, whether that may be for brand loyalty, or supporting their products continuously. Let me tell you this. Companies are not your friends. That doesn't mean that they're bad, per se. It just means you cannot expect to have a friendship with a company, or a relationship that even approximates a friendship. Because where a good friend will reciprocate, fulfill their promises, and be grateful, companies do not have any incentive to do that. So don't fall for that, because you will only end up hurting yourself and your enjoyment of their product. Furthermore, I wish for anything that Warframe decides to do in the future, whether that may be the creator program or anything else, that they will stop to take some time with an open mind sometimes for the individual that they have relations with. This can be very simply a personal recognition that something went wrong and it wasn't intended. Or even in a public conflict situation between two infested parties. Just, engage with them in private and engage so with an open mind. That would go a really, really long way. Most people just aren't bad. And communicating via online ways is way harder than we think it is. But a little openness just goes a long way. Anyway, that's all I have to say about the Warframe Partner Program. At the end of the day, it's been one hell of a ride, and a pretty great time too. I'm super grateful to all the friends I was able to meet for this program. Thank you very, very much. And to all of my fellow Warframe partners, I want to say, even if I haven't spoken much with you, thank you. Thank you very much for having been part of this experience with me. Regardless of what you'll do, I will continue to keep track of you, and if you ever want to speak or hang out, my DMs are always open for you. And to you and everyone else watching this, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for this amazing time.
Yeah, well, for this stream, what do you have plans for doing? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, look at that.
The top 10% ones.
What's going on, everyone? This is Tenno Talk.
Cole Newt is at 1 million subscribers.
No, really, my favorite dev stream moment is probably...
We have some very special guests in the studio.
Here goes nothing.
Well, I don't know what's going to affect this scene, though.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to a Framecast on a first day.
Oh, get the Rock to Cernhouse stagger. That's a pretty good.
So I wanted to give you this from all the Warframe partners.
Congratulations on 100 dev streams. Here's to 2018.
No, I killed the sentient.
What is up?
Nothing much. How the fuck are you?
I've come to the Warframe fan channels, and there are many things you come across, and many obstacles you find when doing something like this. I could have never imagined that I could be sitting there, that I will sit here every single time the cast went on, the people that I watched, the people that were my fucking inspiration, and I would be giving them the pep talk to go on.
Anonymous donated $100? God damn! Already?
What the? Are you serious? Digital! Coming in with $100. We're gonna synced with the $1,000 donation? Wow, those are so good. Oh, I got a black ribbon! Yes! Oh, 100
You'll never see this. Nothing about this is okay.
I want to say that ever since you guys started this section, I've been crying my eyes out with all the freaking love that we've been spreading, and it's so amazing that I got to be a part of it.
Tenno, now is the time for action.
Yeah, good guy. 3 and a 2 and a 1.
Oh my god. I get to kill the children.
Oh my freaking god.
You guys are insane.
That's amazing.
Wait, did we hit it?
Nexus Conduit with a $50 donation. There we go.